Hi there, my name's Shelley and I'm the National Spokesperson for Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. I was given this title in 2007, but I've been involved with PFLAG since April 1999, and I decided that instead of having it run from home, where most of the PFLAG groups are organised, I thought when I moved on, it would be a good base to have as the Queensland AIDS Council. And so I've used that base ever since I started. I thought that it gave us a more professional outlook. I also had people who I felt knew much more about LGBTIQ issues than I did. And to me that was a great help, because when I didn't know an answer, I could always say, to the parent, I will ring you back. So, and that has been fantastic. And then I also realised that there were very few resources when I started with PFLAG, and I thought, it's important to be able to not only talk to parents, but give them something that they can take away and read later or hand on to other people, which would increase, understanding of the person who'd come out in the family. So, because there were no resources, I then had to start writing them. And so we now have an excellent range of resources covering, our sons and daughters, lesbians and gays have come out, our trans children have come out or transitioned, homophobia in the workplace, in the schools. And there's now a wide range of resources that people can get from our website, including one resource, Sexuality is Not a Choice, that we have translated into 17 different languages. So I feel really that we have covered all bases with that. And PFLAG also, we advocate for our sons and daughters, and personally, I have advocated to the state government for many years for the rights of our children, and federally we have done the same. And then also too, what we do is a lot of community education, which I think is extremely important, to just go and talk to community groups and sort of give them the parents' perspective of, our sons and daughters coming out. And again, this is something that when you just talk to people in nice, simple language, and they can see that you're an everyday parent just like they are, it actually removes the fear factor or a lot of the judgment that people have, and yet generally the judgment is incorrect. And interestingly, when I first began with PFLAG, it took about a year to get enough parents to actually have our first meeting. So now what we do is we have bi-monthly meetings, and we always have a guest speaker that is relevant to the parents that attend, and we believe that this increases understanding of their children for them, and it increases our understanding of other people's children and the issues that they may be having at this time. And I think we need to also make it clear that PFLAG is a peer support group. None of us are professionals, and we are 100% voluntary, and we are non-funded. So everything that we do is pretty much, you could say, grassroots or done by private donations. But it's good because over the years we've grown. And we did start off as just a nice little grassroots organisation, but over the years we have grown to become a very credible LGBTIQ organisation, and we have the Queensland AIDS Council and Open Doors are the two primary groups, and they are funded by government, and then it's PFLAG. And so I think that we have worked over the years very hard to get to where we are, and I think that it's very good now that PFLAG is pretty much a household name. In 1999, when I began with PFLAG, it was very interesting because it was a different era to what it is now, and parents, they were just absolutely concerned about being outed or their children being outed. And I used to be given false names, and also too, if They were always concerned that any information that I sent them was always in a brown envelope, and it was all very anonymous. And it was quite interesting. And again, a lot of the times the parents felt that it was, what about me? What have I done wrong? How can I tell people? This is so shameful. And that was fine at the time, but we needed to let people know that that may have been how they felt, but it was not about them. It's about their children. And it was more about how the children were coping. And as I always used to say, I used to let parents, have let their feelings out, and that was fine. But in the long run, they needed to understand it was about their children, and they may have known about their children and been concerned, but it was their children that actually had to live this life. And so to me, at the time in 1999, it was more difficult. They had no rights, and there was a lot of suicide. It was when HIV or AIDS was, rampant, and so there were lots of issues that not only the parents had to be concerned about, but especially the children. But now what is great, now in 2017, people have stopped worrying about themselves most of the time. They may have 5 minutes of shock and they may have 5 minutes of disappointment, but they quickly realise that it is about the children and they need to be supported. And so now when I get a phone call, it might be from a parent saying, my 14-year-old has come out and I'm concerned he'll be lonely. Where can he find friends? And I think that is just amazing, and I think that that's the way it should be. Parents should be there to help their children. And as I often say when lobbying, which is a little off the track here at the moment, it's like at times you stand behind your children, sometimes you stand beside, and then sometimes in front. And so I think when a parent is ringing to say, how can I support my child? Where can I help my child get friends? I always think those parents are really to be admired. But something else that's interesting too these days is I'm getting less and less parents ringing about having a lesbian daughter or a gay son. These days there are many more calls about parents with their children transitioning. And even young children, like 5 and 6-year-olds, parents are saying, I've had my child, he's saying that he is a boy, transitioning from, say, female to male. And what should I do? How can I help him? And I just think that's incredible. And I think those parents are to be truly admired because they're recognising and listening and believing their child. And so, again, when they do this, it's actually preventing so many issues in the future for that child. It also means that it makes it easier for that child, when it's believed, to then go ahead, get support, whatever it's needing, and then by the time that it gets to become or comes into puberty, then the parent and the child and the doctors are all set up so that the child can transition and go onto the blockers and whatever's needed as simply and easily as possible. Also too, we need to keep in mind that sometimes the child may say or feel that they are the opposite gender, but it doesn't always mean that that's what will happen when they're adults. Sometimes children just feel that at the time, and then by the time they get to puberty or later, they might go, no, that's not me, I am what I was originally. And that, to me, and to a lot of the specialists, shows that there's no harm done to that child because you're allowing the child to be themselves. Where if you insisted at the beginning that no, this is not you, you do cause or can cause a lot of mental health issues for the child. And so believing the child at the time is extremely important, and I think a really good sign of good parenting because you're allowing that child to be themselves. Thank you for listening, and If you feel that you would like more support, or you need more support, or you would like some resources in hard copy, please feel free to either send us an email or call us on our helpline, which is 0400 767 832, and we'll be very glad to talk with you and help you with whatever we can. Thank you.